Just go whenever. Yeah.
Ready.
Mad Mission, the maddest movie series in the world, begins now. In the daring high-rise heist master thief King Kong, Cantonese pop star Sam Hui steals a fortune in diamonds from the mob and frames another crook for the crime. But when Kong's partner is murdered and the jewels go missing, he must team with a bumbling American detective, the hilarious Carl Maca, and a tough Hong Kong policewoman, Sylvia Chang, of Eat, Drink, Man, Woman, and Twin Dragons, for an uneasy partnership full of odd tattoos, narrow escapes, and some of the wildest chase scenes ever filmed. This is where it all begins. The original, outrageous Mad Mission. Is your screen flippable, roundable?
It is flippable, roundable.
Hi, I'm David.
I'm Parker.
My name's Ryan. I'll be your drunk friend tonight.
I'm gonna be your standard friend tonight.
And I'm gonna be your high friend tonight for
Mad Mission.
Mad Mission.
Mad Mission.
Honestly, I can't even look at this and give an expectation other than absolutely wild. There's a harpoon gun on the back.
I hope we see these guys on a pump trolley trying to outrun a freight train.
It's going to be a crazy heist movie, action, secret spy drama.
I hope there's gonna be horrible kung fu scenes.
This man in a almost comically zipped down leather suit like Catwoman. I hope we see him really rock it.
Awful editing, sound design. I'm hoping the soundtrack is constantly the same as the menu screen.
Crazy cuts and action and backflips, front flips. I think we're going to get all the whole thing.
Just kidding. So, I'm gonna try to recap this movie.
Yeah, David, tell us what just happened over the last hour and 20 minutes of your life.
So the movie begins with King Kong, played by this gentleman here, Samu Hui, as a daring heist person. I don't know what his motivation for stealing the diamonds in the first place was, because it's never established. He breaks into a diamond sale by a grappling hook zip line after having thrown a grenade across an entire block, blows into this boardroom, steals the diamonds, escapes this boardroom on the back of a motorbike. He then takes the motorbike, drives out of the building through stairs into people, and then gets on a glider and then glides just up into the air and glides all around the city for plenty of time to be shot down, but then just decides to go away. And he's like, fine, it's cool, whatever. So eventually the movie cuts to some sort of godfather of crime, and he's like, we gotta go to Venice to figure this shit out. But they go to Venice for no reason, and then they leave Venice, and they're like, we need to keep this thief alive so he can tell us where he hid the diamonds. But then he pairs up with a cop group who, they let him go the first time because he outsmarted them in a game of basically like Red Hands or whatever, the slaps one. It's equivalent to that. There's some crazy uptight cop lady who falls in love eventually with the like slapstick bald guy who does nothing productive as a cop in this. This whole time they have to track down where the diamonds were hid. King Kong's friend had relations with a mob boss's sister, and they kill him, but only after he said, it's tattooed on the butts of these two women, you need to find the clues. So King Kong and Cody Jack, the bald police guy, go around trying to find the butts of women who have tattoos of clues where these diamonds are going to be hidden. Eventually they find it, somehow. They never tell us, like, a lot of stuff in this movie. Eventually they get to the great map scene where he deduces the location of this single oil barrel in the middle of the Japanese sea. It's wild. They go there. White Glove is waiting for them, and he tries to steal the diamonds back. Eventually, it turns into this like giant chase scene with bombs strapped to remote control cars that explode underneath the chasing cars, and eventually White Glove tracks down King Kong and Cody Jack. Cody Jack gets shot. Bam! And he's like, King Kong, did you get hit? And he's like, no, I didn't. He's like, oh, well, I'm not doing so well. Falls down. And then King Kong starts chasing White Glove. And then White Glove is eventually like, drives his car off a cliff into the water and is like, help me, I'm drowning. We never figure out if he makes it out. Next scene is King Kong and Cody Jack in an ambulance because Cody Jack is being wheeled away to get his gunshot wound treated, which we're never told is fake, but he is all of a sudden fine and is like, ha, you're crying over me like a silly boy. King Kong jumps on the gurney and starts beating up Cody Jack, which slides out of the back of the ambulance into some sort of area that has a beware of dogs sign. The next scene, they're running out of there on each other's backs, and it just ends. Just fucking ends. For no reason at all at that scene. It could have ended at a million other ends of so many of these other scenes.
And I was like, Jack, I gotta go into the bathroom real quick. And Jack and Sebastian and Ross are there, and I was like, yeah, this is all egg. And you can't see it now, but like my hair was just like a thick, congruent mass of egg because the fucking yolk popped on me like a goddamn gusher.
So Mad Mission.
All right, welcome to the couch session for Drunk Stone Standard. Today we watched Mad Mission, and it was crazy.
This was a foreign parody movie.
Yeah, so
There's
hold
four
on.
of these movies.
In the 80s.
This movie was literally, they took a movie, cut the sound out, and then every single sound. Yeah, okay, that's what I'm about to get into. That's what we're about to talk about now.
Fucking sound.
They took a movie that I'm not sure if was a real movie originally or if this was just the movie, and they clearly took all of the sound out. They just put it on mute and took that video, and they superimposed whatever audio they wanted. So like there was some sweet like 80s like whistling ragtime tunes. Every time a car like turned or crashed, it was your classic like scree, koosh, bah, 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 bah. Like you like what you would expect out of like a Roadrunner cart, like, you know, an old school like Roadrunner Coyote cartoon. This movie consisted of both Asian and American actors, but for both of them, they dubbed them. And so the American actors, you could tell were saying the same words you were hearing dubbed, but you could tell that each of the Asian actors were just speaking in their native language. There were also times I noticed that they just wouldn't say anything, like in the original film, quote unquote. Like they were clearly like, but then in the dub they were like, yes, but if he went that, you know, like they just like did a thing, and I was like, oh, okay.
Also, some in the like vice versa. Some of the Chinese actors would have lines and have hard cuts to their faces, but the dialogue hadn't caught up to them yet, so their line just wasn't there.
What was great is that very early on, you couldn't tell if it was maybe just like 2 or 3 people doing all the voices.
Yeah.
And I'm still not convinced that it wasn't like a host of recycled voices for a bunch of different characters.
Absolutely. If not, they were shitty fake New York accents the whole time.
And you cut to scenes of just a guy being like, what's going on here? Like, not even trying to be funny. He has the most absurd voice imaginable.
Like,
they don't address it, and it's just the one different voice for X3 scenes.
And there was like one where there was clearly an English-speaking person doing a terrible Asian accent, just like, I don't even remember any of the lines, but like it was like an American person just being like, and if they go over here, and it's like, are you fucking kidding me? It was so good. Like the fact that it was dubbed was one of the reasons why it was just so funny and so much fun to watch.
Now we're off of sound. Before we get off of sound, the fucking score this movie had.
Yeah, it was interesting to say the least. Every time you'd expect a serious moment, you got this like
dun 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 dun.
or casual, whistling
Like-
Dixie to fucking tunes
Like I'd
behind
close
it.
my eyes and I'd think to myself, oh, it's like a father walking down the street with his son in a comical fashion or something like that.
And you open your eyes.
And then it's like, oh, it's a Hong Kong action movie?
Some of the stunts, I think it's a good time to get into the stunts.
Yeah, that's exactly where I was about to go.
There were times when I wasn't sure if they were in front of a green screen or if they were just putting somebody's life on the line. There's this one scene, like right in the beginning, where he rides a motorcycle down a set of concrete stairs, and he's losing, like clearly losing control of his vehicle. And you're like, this dude...
This was probably a one-shot, and they're just lucky he didn't get hurt.
How about some of the stunts where the cars would crash, but rather than putting like dummies in it, they just had plywood cutouts of heads that would fall from the seats.
Yeah, there'd be a car crash, and then there would cut to the car, what you would think would be immediately after the car crashed, and there would be nobody in it but some broken wood, and you're like, I could have sworn there were like 4 guys in that car shooting a second ago. What that reminds me of is how much this movie, as silly and so stupidly silly and dumb and action-packed it was also a really meta movie. It knew exactly what it was doing.
I think this movie is clearly satire when you look back at it.
Yes.
But it takes you a long time to figure that out because it's never like specifically said. They're making fun of the kind of people that make... Like, this movie...
Like, they...
was making fun of people who they knew would be making fun of this movie. And, like, that's... It's like such a meta level of satire.
It felt like they were trying to fit the Western movie cliche. You start off with the cool Mission Impossible style heist and the hard-hitting lady cop and the good cop, bad cop dynamic, and it's a badass, like, heist investigation movie. Which, like that, immediately starts turning into, like, a rom-com type of movie where the lady cop and the bald cop are, like, have this weird, like, misogynistic, flirty relationship where the lady cop's like, oh, I love you, I think you're so great, oh, because I heard you talking about me, and he's like, I hate you, go do your work, I hate you, go away. It's like trying to make it a rom-com, and then immediately after they drop that, they're like almost while they're setting that up, they set up the heist criminal who's now working with the cops and the bald guy, what's his name again? Cody Jack. They make them a buddy comedy type situation where they're like, somebody's in, like let's act normal. As soon as they walk away, they're like, here we got Jack Daniels and like blah, we're having fun, blah 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 blah, we're buddy cops.
Yeah.
And it was just like they were just either trying to appeal to a mass audience in a really bad way or very purposefully trying to do a parody movie, and I cannot figure out which one it was. David, you had something you were going to say. And then both Parker and I interrupted you.
Oh, they arrest King Kong on the top of a skyscraper after his friend gets dropped off of a crane.
Oh my god! They arrest King Kong on top of a skyscraper.
Jesus Christ.
Oh my god.
That's like my realization that Tobor was robot backwards and Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
Okay, so this movie was clearly clearly satire.
Oh.
Anyway, they arrest him on the top of a skyscraper. They bring him into a police department, and then they let him go just because he was able to beat Cody. Because he outwits Cody Jack at a fucking like party trick game.
They arrest him on suspicion of like major jewelry theft, and he gets out because, like David just said, he beats Bald Cop in 2 games of simple bar tricks. So, at the end of the day, this movie strung you along on upwards of 4 to 7 different lines the entire movie that never intersect up until the very bitter end when they all come cataclysmically cataclysmically crashing down on each other, and every single loose end is tied up all at once. You know, White Glove dies, I think, and like Baldy's shot, but then like literally everything happens all at once. They're just like tied up. Movie over.
What's the female's cop story conclusion? She doesn't have one.
Okay,
She went from career breadwinner to this guy's bitch.
Yeah, she went from badass to just like soft sub. And and then she just literally, you're not wrong, she disappears for the end of the movie. That's the one storyline they did not clear up.
No, that was the end of her storyline, because they think that every woman's like, needs to do that. They think like, oh, you're trying to be a breadwinner career woman? You don't even fucking know then.
Yeah, the Western civilization would hate this. Those stupid Americans hate girls.
It kind of is, because the whole movie, they make fun, they're like making fun of how American the Cody Jack is. They're making fun of how like suave that guy is, and then
they make fun of how Americans can't take women seriously, so they make her into a freaking like dumb like obey role.
What was this fucking?
Was this movie a weird like weird subtext on American culture?
Was this made by time travelers in the 2040s? But we just kind of found it a bit too early.
Yeah. Was this movie actually brilliant? Why don't you watch out and find out? Mad Mission, also known as
Aces Go Places.
If you can manage to find it, watch it and let us know what you think. Because honestly, we are not sure.
We're doing the other three.
We are doing the other three.
I want to see the rest.